In today's video, I'll be showing you two characters I made up from a universe I've came up with, which is a mashup universe of basically Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Harry Potter, and a bunch of other things I might add in. So, if you're ready, like, subscribe, and let's get started. Tony Fett couldn't say he knew his father well. He was usually out of town or was too busy to talk. After a while, Tony just decided that was his father, and he had to accept it. He couldn't talk to his mother ear since he didn't know who his mother was. All poor Tony had been told was that his parents had gotten divorced when he was 1. Another thing Tony just had to accept. But one thing would change his life forever. It was the night his father had come back from one of his long business trips. Tony's father was very happy because he had a whole lot of fun stuff planned for him and his stuffed son this weekend. Unfortunately, Tony had a giant assignment to do this weekend, and so there wouldn't be time for any of that stuff. By the way, Tony's about 17 now. Tony's father decided he would tackle the problem in the morning and went to sleep. While his father was asleep, Tony discovered something in his father's stuff that he had brought home. Inside was an armored battle suit. Tony didn't always know that his father was brilliant. After all, that's where Tony got it. But this seemed unreal. Without even thinking, he put it on the suit and gave it a test drive. He flew around in the suit for about 2 hours. But Tony knew, without a doubt, that this was the funnest time he had in his life. He decided to go home, but when he got there, he saw a horrific scene. His father's body was on the ground, and the police were searching the area. Tony quickly took off the suit and demanded answers. The police had none, but his butler Jarvis had all the answers. He told Tony that his father was an intergalactic bounty hunter, and he was killed by a rival named Whiplash Bosk. Tony then realized that the suit he had been flying around in was his father's battlesuit. Tony then realized it was all his fault. Jarvis tried to comfort him the best he could, because he knew this next piece of information would hit Tony hard. Tony was a clone of his dad. And this kinda explains why he never knew his mother, because he never was. To say he was surprised would not be the right word. The right word should be mortified. After taking this in, he began to realize something. He had always been looking on how horrible his life was. But what about the rest of the world? If people like Boss could just do what they please, who could stop him? From that point on, he decided to form a team to stop people like Bosk, and he took the name the Ironmandalorian. Bruno, like most of his family, had gotten a gift, but he still felt like a bit of an outsider in a small town. It was just outside of New York, but no one really knew about it. He had the power to see into the future, but some people thought he was cursing them. In any case, he thought his family should be helping the people of New York from the countless villains popping up. But every time he brought it up, Ablella shut him down. Bruno always felt pressure from Ablella, and he knew that others felt so too, but none of them had the courage to stand up to her. But something changed everything. One day on the news, the Ironmandalorian was asking any super-powered people if they would like to join his new team of heroes he was forming. Bruno felt amazing. He couldn't believe it. Finally, someone else had come to the same conclusion as he did. He immediately told Ablella, but before he could even say the question, Ablella said no. Bruno was in tears. He ran to his room and thought of his next move. He decided if Ablella wouldn't enlist the family, then he would enlist himself. The next morning, which would be the day after his baby niece was born, he headed off to New York and talked to the Ironmandalorian. Fett welcomed him with open arms and told him for now he would be on standby because the rest of the team hadn't been assembled yet. Bruno left from home and celebrated that night about his niece being born. By the way, Mirabelle is only a day old. As the party ended, he was going to go to his room, but then he saw something pretty odd. His door was gone. At first he was concerned. He wasn't concerned. After all, his room had moved places before, but he soon realized that it wasn't in the house at all. Bruno couldn't make sense of it, but this next part was a heavy blow. Ablella came up to him and told him to get out. Bruno was speechless. What was going on? Then Abuela told him that she knew about him sneaking off to see Fett. She said that she was done with his disloyalty to this family. In the same moment, Bruno had a vision of Mirabelle's future life, how her life would be miserable just because she didn't have a gift. Plus, Abuela would be extra hard on her, even more than she was on him. Without even really thinking, Bruno ran past Abuela and took Mirabelle from her crib and ran off into the distance. Bruno knew he would never be reaccepted into the family now, but he decided it would be worth it to make sure Mirabelle had a happy life. So he decided to go to Fett's place, and from that point on, he went by as the Bat Rat. So yeah, I hope you guys liked today's video. My next video will probably be about this too, about 2 other heroes in the league I'm forming. So, I hope you liked it. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. And also, by the way, the Rat Bat, I just want to make sure if no one catches it, it's a cross between Batman and Bruno. Anyway, see ya.